Hey guys, quick little vid. If you're a little sensitive, you're probably not going to watch this because I'm going to piss some people off. This law enforcement shit, though, that's going on, and everybody's screaming racism, you know. Majority of law enforcement are not even white. And if a lot of you are having problems with police interaction going on, maybe you guys should take that issue up with the people who called the cops to begin with. Officers can only respond to a scene with the information they're given by the person who calls the police in the first place. So you need to think about that. You're going after the police because of somebody else calling them and telling them what's going on, and they're having to go by that information. When an officer can't even stop somebody from stabbing another person without being called a racist, there's a problem. And I think it's at that point that while Democrats are making it so that officers are stuck being selective about what laws they enforce in what communities, these officers need to stop showing up to these phone calls. They need to stop helping the black community. I'm sorry, guys. But they don't need to be showing up having to worry about going to prison if they have to deal with a violent situation. Because one of your own doesn't know how to present themselves as a human being. When 13.8% of the U.S. population commits 50% of the crimes in the U.S., yeah, I think it's time maybe the police need to just stop showing up if you guys are going to keep screaming racism every time. They need to leave it to your communities. They need to let you guys fend for yourself. Because remember, if they show up, they're being racist. And those of you who don't like it, maybe you should start talking to your friends and family a little more, and even your kids. I'm getting tired of hearing these shitty-ass parents talking about how their kids have a 50-50 chance of getting shot by a cop when they leave every day. You know, the only reason why your kids have a 50-50 chance is because you fucking stupid-ass parents told your kids they have two choices when dealing with the police. They can comply or not comply. That's their 50-50 chance. Because you know what? They're going to follow by what their friends or family or those who influence them, they're going to follow those people, actions, and influences to, well, let's just put it this way. They're most likely going to choose not to comply versus complying. And sadly, these days, these kids have learned that complying is the worst thing to do for them. And not complying will martyr them. That's how fucked up you people have become. And I'm talking just Democrats in general at this point. No, I think it's time that law enforcement, even though everybody deserves to have that access to protection and whatnot, it's time that law enforcement stops responding to the phone calls in these communities. Let them fend for themselves and watch and see how fast they're going to call bullshit and start screaming racism again. Because nobody will come and help. Why would anyone in their mind, why would anybody, help somebody knowing that you have a higher chance of being called a racist piece of shit because you showed up to respond to a situation given only a certain type of information about what's going on and having to respond to that information, and you have to rely on that information. And if I have to worry about showing up and having to stop somebody from killing another person only to put my ass in prison, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to show up to a store and help stop a robbery. I would not show up and help stop a domestic violence situation. None of it. Why? And I think you officers out there need to start asking yourselves this. Did you take an oath to only enforce certain constitutional laws on certain communities and to protect those constitutional laws as well? Or did you take oath to protect all communities and to enforce and protect all constitutional laws? I'm betting it's the latter. So I won't cry or be hurt if you guys take your badge off and walk away, because you guys don't deserve this shit. There's going to be a piece of shit in every industry of employment, whether it's law enforcement, medical, political, fast food, truck driving, mechanics. You're going to find a piece of shit in every single profession out there. Every single one. And by the way, Democrats, including the Republican politicians, rely on the public's general stupidity on not being aware of what their national and international laws are. They rely on it. Collective punishment goes against the Geneva Convention Act of 1949. It is considered an act of war, and people want to sit back and say, we're not in a time of war. Well, when Pelosi stood up on her little podium, October of 2019, 1 month before COVID started spreading through China, she publicly announced political civil war. We are at war. The moment she did that, and they started performing collective punishment as they have, we've had legal right, not just at the national level, but at the international level, to stand up and fight. I don't believe in war. I don't believe in any of that shit, but I also know that sometimes peace is not won just by talking. You can't talk to people who have already made it clear. You know, Hillary made it clear. Democrats can't be civil until they've got power again. Well, guess what? They've got power again, and they still can't be civil. Now they're painting targets on one community of people while calling everyone else a racist. And it's usually a bunch of white Democrats by majority. I do want to make it very clear, though. These racist theories that a lot of you keep pushing out there, and you want to say that white people don't understand racism, you should look up Samuel Morton. He was a Democrat out of Philadelphia, a scientist who classified humans by their skin color. If it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have the racism that you see right now. It was his theories that gave fuel to the Southern Democrats to fight for slavery, because in their minds they were given scientific evidence that black people were barely above an animal, which is really fucked up. You should look up where white privilege came from. Peggy McIntosh. Systemic racism. Joe Fagan. Both are white liberal Democrats. Every single race theory that you've thrown out there, that people say that white people don't know anything about racism, those are white theories. So it's telling me you don't know about racism at all either, because you're actually spewing white theories about racism. And racism all out is straight up bullshit. And these days, using it like a tool to control or sway a courtroom or anything like that, no, I'd turn this entire fucking country to bullshit. No, it's time that law enforcement, you just stop responding to those phone calls. Quit putting your life in danger for people who are just going to turn around, scream race, and try and have your ass thrown in prison. You didn't take an oath to go get thrown in prison trying to protect people. Then do the right thing. And if some of you know that you have fellow officers who are abusing their badge, drop your balls, because they're not enforcing the oath that they took, and they're not honoring it. Therefore, you have no need to honor an oath for a fellow officer who is not honoring that badge. And you need to say something.